Morning, 7th. We are getting into a brand new unit. In fact, it is the 26th, I believe. The 28th. Oh, goodness. Okay. So what we're getting into is parts of a circle, which is going to lead us into composite figures. So this is really, really huge because this is a shape that you haven't dealt with. How do we find the area or the circumference, which is a big fancy word for perimeter? And how do we find those areas of those things? So I am trying to find my page, and it looks like Miss Kowalski has not been keeping up. So I will update mine. Let's see, so that was 66. I am on page 68. Okay. All right. So you had a pink sheet, and so what I want you to do is go ahead and cut that out, freeze the video, and resume. So today and tomorrow we're going to do a fun activity that explores the shape and why the area and why the circumference works out the way it does. So with this circle, let's see, you have a line that basically folds the circle in half. Okay? That is called the diameter. Okay? So it goes all the way. It basically folds the circle in half. Okay? Now you notice that there's another line. So this line is called your radius. And from any point from the outside of the circle to the center of the circle, so I could draw it here, I could draw it here, okay? It is basically half of diameter. Sorry, I have to write small. Okay? So those are really, really important because many of the formulas, if we're given the diameter, but the formulas include the radius, as well as the diameter. So you're going to have to be able to identify those. And that's what we're going to practice today. So go ahead, we're going to glue that into our journals. And if you notice when even the radius, by using that radius, we can find a quarter of that circle. Okay? All right, so a few notes. I'm going to glue this down later. I apologize, I wasn't quite ready. This going all the way around, is called the circumference. And that's a big fancy word for perimeter. Okay, so circumference. Big, fancy word for perimeter. Why do we find the perimeter? Okay, maybe I am sewing a tablecloth on a table, and so I want to put a trim along the edge, and I need to know how much ribbon that I'm going to need. Many times another circle might be a picture. I'm trying to think of another example, and a pizza. Right? How big does the cooking tray have to be able to put to fit the pizza? The diameter, let's see, fold down here where I have room. So your diameter is the distance across the circle through the center. Okay. And then, of course, the radius is the distance to middle. To the middle, which is the center of the circle. Okay. So what I want to do really, really quick is on the left side, because you're going to do this today. And I apologize, but because we have the core the way it is, I really wanted to do an inquiry today where you guys discover, but we're going to do it tomorrow. But I want to go ahead and give you the formula because you're going to need to do that today. On your reference sheet, you have the area. And remember, the area is what's inside, okay? The circumference is what is around. The area is what is the footage, or whatever dimension you're using, whatever unit. How many square units, how many centimeters, how many meters, whatever the size, the unit that you're using, but on the inside of that circle, okay? So the area, the formula for area is pi, and we're going to talk about that tomorrow, r squared. The circumference if we're given the diameter is pi times d, or 2 pi r. So why the different formulas? Well, sometimes you're given the diameter, and really twice the radius is the same thing as your diameter. So really the reason we have those is depending on what you're given, you'll use the one that for which one that you're given, whether it's the diameter or radius, okay? Now, the last thing, let's see, what is pi? Okay, and we're going to discover tomorrow what the value of pi is, but it can be in a fraction, which is 22 sevenths, or 3 and 14 hundredths, okay? This number actually goes on and on and on, but we use 3 and 14 hundredths, okay? Now, you guys are going to do the little happy dance when I say, but Miss K says use 3. And we're going to discover why, because it's a lot easier with the math, and I'll show you how to justify your answer, okay? But I do want you to see that. So let's look at the activity that I have for you today. And all you're going to do is using these formulas, okay? So for example, on the front, if they give us the radius, okay? So remember that we're doing area equals pi r squared. Pi is I'm going to substitute the value of 3, put it in parentheses to mean multiplication. My radius is 12, and I'm going to square it. Remember, when you square a number, you're not multiplying it times 2. In fact, when you do this, I want you to write pi times r, okay? Because that's really what it means. So what that means is 3 times 12 times 12, okay? So 3 times 144, and do the math. Sorry, I'm getting out my calculator. 3 times 1 is 432. And we are using miles. That's going to be a big circle. And remember that when we're using area, you always have the unit in squares. Okay? Now on the back, they give you the diameter. But my formula has to use the radius. So I need to, you need to identify what the radius is. It's half of your diameter. You do not use this number, okay? When you're doing area, you must find the radius first, okay? I only want you to, I think you can do all of these, okay? All right, I will see you tomorrow, and enjoy doing circles.